Hello, my name's Sharon and I'm a volunteer here at the Powerhouse Museum. Now in the next 25 minutes I'm going to be talking to you about animation, and in particular a type of animation called stop motion claymation. I'm going to show you a claymation movie clip that we made here, and then I'm going to be explaining to you how that animation was made. Does anybody know what animation is already and how it's made? Hands up. Well, in broad terms, animation is the recording of any image that over time goes through some changes and gives the illusion of movement or motion. And it's been around for a very, very, very long time, and long before the movies were ever invented. Now, has anybody seen a flip book like this one? Anyone seen flip books? See how the pictures seem to move? Well, toys that work on the same principle as flip books have been around for a few hundred years. And they all work because of a funny thing that the eye does called persistence of vision. Persistence of vision sounds very proper, doesn't it? Let me explain to you what persistence of vision is. Hands up, who can tell me what happens if I should wave a sparkler around in the night sky? What would you see? If I was to wave a sparkler around, back and forth, lit sparkler, what would you see? That's right, you see a trail of light following it, don't you? Now what if I was to tell you that that trail of light isn't actually there? It's just an illusion. It's your eye tricking you. What we think is happening is that at the back of your eye, in a place called the retina, there's some sensory cells that hang on to an image of the end of your lit sparkler for just a bit longer than your sparkler is in any one position. So it sees the end of your sparkler, say there, and makes an image and hangs on to that image for just a bit longer, a quarter of a second longer than your sparkler's in that position. And then your sparkler moves on, and your eye does it again and hangs on to it for that position for just a little bit longer. And it keeps doing that as you move your sparkler. And then what happens is all of those little snippets of images that it's hung onto all merge together like this and follow the end of your sparkler. And it makes you think that there's a trail of light following your sparkler, but in actual fact, it's just an illusion. And if I were to take a photograph, a normal photograph of that happening, the only thing you'd see is the lit end of your sparkler. That trail just wouldn't be there. So do you believe me now when I tell you that your eye can trick you into seeing things that aren't actually happening? Well, have a look at this. Here in my box, I've got some very special colouring pencils. They're used to draw the movement in cartoon animation. And you can see they're very bendy and wibbly wobbly. Look at this. Can you see how bendy that is? Whoa. Look at that. It's incredibly bendy. Hey, would you like to hold one while I see if another one's equally as bendy? What about purple? I wonder if purple's as wibbly wobbly as the yellow. Oh yes, look at that. Look at that. Is yours still wobbling? No? Yeah, let me have another go. Yes, it is. Look at that. It's wobbling. Nah, you're quite right. It's not bendy at all. It's just a normal colouring pencil. And what you're seeing is persistence of vision at work. Providing I hold that pencil loosely enough and I move it up and down quickly enough, your eye sees the pencil in that position, that position, that position, and that position, but also that position, and that position. And persistence of vision merges all of those positions together and gives the illusion of bendiness in its drag, if you like. It sees a drag which makes it look bendy, when in fact it's just a normal pencil, colouring pencil. Quite rigid. Now, in the case of animation, persistence of vision allows a collection of slightly different pictures of the same thing merge together and give the illusion of smooth flowing movement. And so here in the flip book you see these pictures are all of the same thing. In this case it's a little girl, but they're all just slightly different. You see how they're all just slightly different? And then when you see it quickly enough, the persistence of vision allows it looks to look as if she's moving.
Yep, beautiful.
As it merges all of those pictures together. Now, has anybody seen Wallace and Gromit? Hands up. Yes, did you come to the exhibition? It was great, wasn't it? It's my favourite animation. I love Wallace and Gromit. Well, Wallace and Gromit is a form of animation called stop motion claymation. Now, first of all, let me explain to you what stop motion is. Unlike cartoons, where the difference in movement, the difference in the pictures is drawn. So the same as this flip book. Flip books are like cartoons, like the old cartoons like Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry. Well, they work in the same principle as flip books. And you see here, the difference in those pictures is made by drawing. Well, with stop motion, the difference in pictures is not caused by drawing, it's actually caused by physically moving the object or character. So they take the object and they move it slightly, take a photograph, then take the object again and move it a bit more, take a photograph, and then they put all of those photographs onto film or videotape, and when seen fast enough, that object looks as if it's moving smoothly and as if by itself. Because of course they're not taking the photograph of your hand in there, moving it. And that's stop motion. Now, Wallace and Gromit is also what's called a claymation animation. So, hands up, who can tell me what they think Wallace and Gromit are made of? That's right, they're made of plasticine, which is a form of modelling clay. There we go, little chap there. Now, I've got a claymation animation clip that I'd like to show you. Now, it's not Wallace and Gromit, it's about a banana and a bomb. And we made it here at the Powerhouse. Now, it's very short, it's only 10 seconds long. And I'm going to show it to you on what's called a loop, which means it's going to start at the beginning, run to the end, start at the beginning, run to the end, and keep doing that until I stop it. Now, I'd like you to watch it really, really, really closely, because at the end, I'm going to be asking you some very tricky questions about it. Excuse me. So, watch closely. Remember those tricky questions. It's only 10 seconds long, so really keep an eye on it. You ready? Okay, first tricky question. I hope you were watching closely. Hands up, who can tell me how many bananas they saw in that little movie clip there, that 10-second clip? Yeah, just the one? Are you sure? And what was the expression on the banana's face at the very beginning of the clip? Anyone remember? Smiling. Well, here's our smiling banana. There's he, smiling away. But here's one that's not so happy. And here's one closing his eyes. But look, there's this one. Starting to peel, a bit shocked. And here's a sort of peeled, rather embarrassed looking banana. Ooh, do you look like that when you're embarrassed? So we used 5 hard clay models, 5 of them all in, and we used them in the sequence that they're in, and between each, during the filming, between each photograph, well, a few photographs, we put the bananas in that sequence to give the impression that just one banana was peeling. So we photographed this one first and had that one moving around a little bit. So photograph, 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 and then this one, and then finally this one. So it looked as if one banana was peeling. Now, Wallace and Gromit used this technique too, where they use hard clay, but more often than not, they used soft plasticine moulded over a wire frame, sort of like this little chap, only a bit bigger. And rather than creating the movement like we have there by replacing a character, they use the same character, and between shots They just move it slightly. Move it slightly again. Take another photograph, move it slightly again, take another photograph, move it slightly again, and another photograph. Now, how long do you think it took us to make our just 10 seconds worth of movie clip with a banana there? How long do you think it took just to make that 10 seconds? Well, it took over 20 minutes just to take the photographs alone. But if you take into consideration the making of the clay models, the painting, the making of the sets, and the photographing, it took over 2 days just to get 10 seconds. Now, I know that a Wallace and Gromit production takes over a full day just to get slightly over 1 second of movie clip. That's because when they're moving it, they are taking, to get the beautiful productions that they get, whereby the movement is so smooth, they take 24 to 30 frames, which are photographs, they call them frames, 24 to 30 per second of movie clip. So they move it tiny little amount, take a photograph, another tiny little amount. So it comes out looking beautifully smooth. And they have to do that because they've got so much more going on in their clips. For a start, Wallace speaks, doesn't he? So they have to move lips and things like that to make it look as if Wallace is speaking. Whereas in our movie clip, we didn't need that. And in our movie clip, you'll see that it's actually a little bit jumpy in comparison to Wallace and Gromit, because between each photograph, we'd be moving it about that much. Oops, sorry. So, it takes a very, very long time to produce an animation, stop motion animation. Before any making of any animation movie is made, something has to happen first. Has anybody got any ideas what that might be? Before they even make any of the characters or anything like that, can anyone think what has to happen first? Hands up? Yeah? A script. That's right. Somebody's got to have a creative idea. Somebody's actually got to think about a story, what the characters are going to be doing, what the characters even look like. Somebody's got to be thinking about that. And then, once they've had this creative idea, they've actually got to explain to everybody else on the animation team, which includes cinematographers, photographers, set makers, artists. They've got to explain to the whole team what they're actually thinking about. So what they do is they make what's called a storyboard. Now, has anybody here, hands up anybody here who's ever been in drama at school or outside school? Yeah, lots of you. So you'll know what I mean when I say a script. Well, a storyboard is sort of a script, only in pictures as well as words. And this is our storyboard for our banana clip. And here you can see it breaks down into all different sections, all the things that are going to be happening throughout the production. And it allows everybody to see what's expected to be happening, so they can see it before they start that expensive process and time-consuming process of actually filming. But what it also lets them do, the animation team do, is to see if there's any problems that might need to be sorted out beforehand. For instance, the art director might say, I don't know that I like that purple behind that yellow. I think we should change the colour to make the yellow stand out more. Or, not too sure that the bomb should be right there. So it lets any changes take place before they start the actual filming process. And so here in our clip you can see a happy banana sits next to a bomb. The bomb fuse lights. The banana is shocked to see the lit fuse. The bomb makes a movement to indicate something's about to happen. The bomb explodes. The banana skin is half peeled in the explosion, and the banana is embarrassed by his state of undress. The banana hides his embarrassed self behind a bush. Now, it's very important to show emotions and feelings and expression in animation, because basically they've got to breathe life into something that isn't alive. So it's very important to show emotions to get to the feel of of what's actually going on in the production. Now, very often they're actually putting human emotions onto non-human things. For instance, in this case, we've got a banana with a face. How many bananas, real bananas, have you seen with a face? Not one. So they've got to show expression, human expression. But the thing is, with humans, we don't only show our emotions on our face. Let me show you. Hands up, you can tell me what I'm feeling at the moment. Yeah?
Cold.
That's right. I'm showing I'm cold, aren't I? But I'm showing that in my body movements as well. It's called my body language. Now, if I was to take those parts of my body that's making those expressions away and just show you my face, do you think you'd know that I was cold?
Tired.
It'd be quite difficult, wouldn't it? Yes. Tired or something. So what animators do, because it would take even longer, we already know it takes forever to do all the movement and taking the photographs and whatever, because it would take even longer if you had to show every single body movement that humans express to show emotions or feelings. What they do is they just take a couple, or one or two, and exaggerate them. And here you can see. Do you look like that when you're happy? No, people would probably think you're quite mad. But it lets you know that our banana is a happy chappy. So there we go. It's very important to show emotion and often exaggerate expressions and emotion in animation. Now, I know that animators use lots of tricks and materials to simulate things happening in their animations. For instance, we had an exploding bomb. So do you think we used a real bomb?
No.
No, that'd be far too dangerous, wouldn't it? So, how many bombs do you think we actually used? Any guesses? Aha! Getting used to this, aren't you? You're right, we used more than one. Well, there's our first bomb. That's a normal looking bomb. But then we used this bomb and this bomb. Now we used 3 in all to make some movement. And we wanted to, this harks back to the expression and feelings and setting the scene, if you like. What we did, we wanted the movement of a bomb that sort of squashes down and is just about to go boom. So we needed that movement in there. And of course, bombs don't really do that in real life. But it sets the scene because it makes the audience think, oh, something exciting is just about to happen. So we used 3 bombs. Now, how do you think, well, you can see here that the fuses here get shorter, and that's how we made the fuse look as if it was partially burning down. But how do you think we actually got the fuse to look as if it was a light? Anybody got any guesses? Certainly didn't light it. That would be far too dangerous. No ideas on that one? Well, we used this nifty little bit of equipment here. This is what's called a laser pointer, and it's usually used by very proper people in meetings to say, oh yes, the figures this year are such and such. But in this case, watch this. I love this bit. If I hit it on the can you see that? Can you see how that looks as if it's a light? Is that showing up? I love it, look, it looks sparkly. It's great. Isn't that clever? So we used that on all of those 3 and it looks as if it was burning down. Now, what about the smoke? We had smoke in our production. How do you think we made the smoke? Any ideas on that one? Hands up. Yes.
Cotton wool.
Very clever. Almost cotton wool. It's pillow stuffing. Here we are, just pillow stuffing. So all we had to do there is to throw that into shot for a couple of shots and whip it out again. And it looked as if there was smoke as the bomb exploded. Now, I've already told you that this is hard clay, and these guys have got hard clay eyes. Well, how do you think we got the eyes to move? Any ideas on that one? This is quite clever too. Look, this is just sticky black plastic, which I just move, and it makes us look as if the eyes are moving. That's quite clever too, isn't it? There we go. Well, there are lots of tricks and materials that animators use to simulate things happening in their animations. If anybody fancies having a go at doing this at home, It's actually not that difficult. There are, on the computer, some free downloadable programs which Mum and Dad can download for you. Now, you'll also need a camera, the program. You can make your own your diorama, a little stage there, and any number of your small toys will be ideal to make a production with. In fact, I've got another movie clip to show you here that I used these small toys, just some bugs and frogs and things, and they look just great, just running around on screen. I'll show you here. See, and in the background there, those are just leaves that I picked from the garden and put in there, so you can make your set quite easily. But don't they look great, just running around? And it's all very doable at home. Okay. So if anybody does fancy having a go at home, I've got some free handouts here if you'd like to pick one up at the end. And that'll give you all the information that you need for those downloads and other information about it as well. Okay. Now, I know that there's actually something missing from our banana bomb clip. I know exactly what it is, and I need you to guess. And I'm going to play it again for you to have another look and see what you think it might be. Okay. Okay, hands up who can tell me what's missing. Yes, I think it's very obvious, isn't it? Yes, that's right. There's no sound, is there? Well, before any animation takes place, the animators, what they do is they look at their storyboard. So they take their storyboard and they look at it, and obviously look at all the sounds that they're going to require through the film. Because obviously, well, we're going to have a fuse burning down and a bomb exploding. That's just for this one. But in Wallace and Gromit, of course, there's an awful lot more things going on, and not only do they have background noises, but they also have things like Wallace speaks, doesn't he? So what they do is they go and make a soundtrack of all the things that they're going to require, and in Wallace's case, they have to use a voice actor who will speak all of the lines that Wallace will speak during the movie. So they make this soundtrack, and then play the soundtrack, and match up all of the movements to the noise. Now that also takes an awfully long time, so that's another reason why Wallace and Gromit movie takes so much longer than ours. But they do have yet another computer program to help you do that, and what it's called as lip syncing. Now, because we don't have anybody speaking in our movie clip here, it's actually going to be quite easy for me to add in the sound afterwards. So, what I'm going to ask you to do is, after the count of three, at the count of three, I'm going to ask you to make a sound of a snake hissing. Just go tss, and then when I drop my arm, if you can all go boom, that would be fab. Can you do that for me? So I'll go 1, 2, 3, you start hissing, and when I drop my arm, boom. Yep. Okay, let's do it. Are you ready? Boom! Excellent. You've been great, guys. Thank you so much for listening to my talk on animation. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, if anybody's interested in having a look at those toys that we talked about, you can come along to the touch table and have a look at the moving image touch table, and there's some of those toys we speak about. Also, if anybody's actually wanting to learn more about animation and more in depth than this, we run holiday programs here in ThinkSpace that will tell you all about and go into great depth about animation and let you make your own with help from lecturers and talk to teachers about it. So get Mum and Dad to check out our ThinkSpace programs through the summer holidays. Thanks so much. Cheerio. Enjoy the rest of your day.